Welcome back to the Nightcap. We've been talking to cast members from Ready to Love. We've got Bevan, Tressa, Ron, and Stacy. And before I headed over to the bar to have this delicious drink, Ron was saying that the expectation for men increases with age. Ladies, you guys were a little shaken up there in your seats. How do you guys feel about that statement?
Unless you're trying to date, unless a man that's 40, 50 years old is trying to date someone that he has no business dating, the expectations are pretty much going to be the same. We want someone to provide. We want someone to respect us, to hear us, to be a companion. That stuff is not changing. It's just that because we are older, we don't take bullshit. That's really that's really all I'm expecting, is to not deal with the games. If you don't want to be in a relationship, then say that.
Yeah.
Don't string people along and all of that, and because we're older now, all of a sudden I'm a place setter until you find a younger woman. Now that type of stuff, no, we don't want to deal with that.
We don't have games. We don't have time for the
we
games.
have no time for games. And the older that we are, then yes. I mean, one reason, I was told that I wasn't chosen for several reasons, but one of them was not wanting to have any more kids, But now that I have a man and he wants more kids, I've never felt like this about any man. So now I would consider it. And I am 44 years old.
Ooh, wow.
Now, will it happen? It probably won't.
But you're considering it, like the relationship has led you to.
It was all about the man and how comfortable I am, and the whole thing of wanting to submit, and older women don't submit. Submitting and all that's a natural thing. It's not something that a man asks you.
I hate that.
Men are so obsessed
I hate
with submitting.
that that's become a trigger word.
Why don't you just submit to me?
That's so
Just
dumb.
submit to me. Get a good spanking here and there. Just submit to me.
Right.
I'm over it.
But you don't even have to use the term submit.
Yeah,
like it's like so.
You don't.
It was
really
like
don't.
it. Like some social media person made it popular, and so now it's just like this common word that everybody wants to use to trigger people or to be provocative.
Yeah.
Now my take on it is a little bit different, right? I'm 41, so I'm like the first millennials, right? I lived in an era where we didn't have internet, and then we did, and then we didn't have cell phones, and then we did.
Right.
We had Facebook. We were there for the beginning of everything, where like a lot of younger people, that's all they know. And then a lot of older people, like people older than me, they don't know anything about it.
Right.
So I feel like women like me in my age group, right? The early millennials, we were if you think about when we came up, very many of us were first generation college graduates. We were very focused on career success and things like that. So I think that for many of us, dating, families became like an afterthought. Now for me, I got married a little bit earlier. I think I was like 25, but I was still focused on my education and my children,
And your career.
my business, my career. And so I think that now these women like me, so now I'm divorced, right? It's a lot of women. Some of my girlfriends who've never been married, they might not have kids, and we're all in the same age group, but there are a lot of us that's divorced as well. And so now you have these men who are in our same age group, who did date younger because we were so career focused. And they've gotten accustomed to this toxic language, this breakup to makeup, all of this foolishness that him 20 and 30-year-old Ron had to deal with.
Right.
But now they want to come home to mamas. Now they want stability, and they want intelligent women. They want people who's not going to be like high conflict. They want to come home. They want to go to a home, right? But the problem is
they've played the field and dealt with the foolishness.
The problem is they can't communicate with us anymore. We don't speak the same language because they've been doing this toxic stuff, and we've been surviving and thriving.
Ron, you've got feelings.
Is dating younger toxic? I mean, I
Well,
think that's kind of
a
like
lot of older dudes want to date us, but we don't really take you guys seriously.
And they don't understand that.
And we're
Toxic.
even
No,
more
I mean like-
progressive.
I mean
a lot
like
of
the
us are
toxic
even more
environment.
progressive to where we're doing the same thing. We want our
wanna
own money,
build.
own car, own whatever. So we see a lot of older dudes as like play dates.
Right.
But
And they
in
don't get
general,
that.
women have always kind of dated older men.
Yeah, but that's because
I mean, not crazy
but
like
that was a
petite
it's
thing.
because
thing.
it's not a systematic thing, but it's a historical type of thing.
Yeah.
Older men have always pretty much dominated younger women, have always tried to impregnate us really young, you know. You see the age difference now. Back in the day, you could be in a relationship with a 40-year-old man
Right.
at 16 and have a full family.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
So the times have changed
And it doesn't mean it's
consistently.
right.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's
Mentally,
right.
Frontal lobe hasn't even developed to you, you know,
No,
until you're
not that young.
25.
Yeah, but no, I don't see anything wrong with
I don't
it. But
see it
I don't
wrong.
think that there's a grass is greener on the other side because we're younger. We're also not stupid. We know what's going on a lot
Exactly,
of times.
exactly.
Well, I wasn't trying to have a blanket statement
No,
like
not-
all
I'm saying
younger
for
women
him.
are
Right,
toxic.
right.
I'm saying like there's this social media generation of toxicity where this is normalized behavior, like acting a fool, popping on top of the car in traffic. All of this
High
is
drama,
normalized.
yeah.
High drama, low affection. You know, and unfortunately, you know, a lot of men, you know, they've been living their best lives with that culture. And then they reach a point of maturity and they're like, oh, okay,
Let me find the
let's
mature
go to
one.
mama.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, we're not, are you speaking English? Because I don't know what you're saying.
You
Because
feel like
the
you
thing
can't
is,
communicate the same.
we're-
I'm sorry, Ron. You're being run over by women. So what is your take? And I'll get to you.
His response is going to be defensive. Go ahead.
It's not defensive. I definitely hear what you're saying. I'm saying this, that women, what I see is a lot of women in my exact age group have done what Stacey said. Like I said, they was in a career trying to get that started, or they had a kid very young, you know, probably from the wrong guy, and they didn't feel real comfortable until that kid, you know, got older, and because being a single mom is, you're dependent on yourself. You really
Right.
can't 100% depend on anybody all the
else.
time, and I understand that. So they were getting out of the way, and now you got these women at 40, and they're like excited, like 20-year-olds, like, I'm ready now. And we're like, man, I asked you for that 7 summers ago.
I mean, there's no like one way thing. Everybody, and that's the thing though. There's so many different people, so many different cultures that kind of overlap. So we also have that. We have social media. We have different ethnic backgrounds. We have different religions, cultures. So a lot of that clashes too and overlaps with what we think is, you know, what's my role? What am I looking for? What do I eventually want? What's going to make me happy?
Right.
So that gets in the way too. It's not just, oh, I want this and that and the other.
Right.
It's, oh, I'm Catholic, so this. And
That's true.
my grandma said this, and this is what I view as a relationship. And then you have a lot of different things that you're like, what am I actually looking for? What do I want?
And actually knowing what it is.
Yeah, and then that catch
you
up.
want.
You might have lived a different path, or you know, in your 20s, and this person did too. So we're like, okay, I'm here now, and this person's like, I'm here now too.
Right.
Right.
So-
And so
And
hopefully
then-
you're finding that
Yeah,
medium.
there's
Right.
a lot of overlapping.
And the thing about it is what he's talking about, like as far as the single mom, me and Stacey, we were both married. You know what I mean? So we were not to each other, but we were both married.
I wouldn't have
and,
a problem
you
there.
know,
You're hottie.
you know, because
Wouldn't
you know
mind.
we're good people. But the thing about it is that what men are trying, or the toxic ones are forgetting that the reason that women focused on education and focused on doing what you want and not getting into a relationship and losing yourself, right? Because what if, just like Ready to Love, what if you're not chosen?
Right.
You have to take care of yourself and live well, because you may not be the one chosen to be ready to love or to
Right.
get married. So am I supposed to not do anything in hopes that I'm going to be chosen to get a ring? We can't live like that.
And
So
your
you
value
have to-
isn't
and
dependent
your
on a
value
ring
is
either.
not
Oh,
about
So I
getting
was very
married.
anti-marriage for a long time because I was always saying like, women they feel like this is the pinnacle of their life is a baby and a
That
ring.
part.
Right.
Like, oh, I'm a mom, so I'm really important,
'Cause it
or
was
I have
for
a
such
ring.
a long time.
Yeah,
It
I'm a
was
ring, so
in
that
our
means that I'm a
society.
very valuable person. So what happens when your husband cheats on you? what happens when he leaves you or you leave them?
Though.
But that's what happened.
So for a long time,
That's what
for a long time,
happened.
I was very anti-marriage.
Right.
And I said, I'm not interested in that because that doesn't place value on me.
Right.
Now I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. It's cool, whatever.
Women are the
I'll
ones
do it.
leaving these relationships at 80%.
Now.
Now, but not
the
Because we
man's
can.
risking all this,
Now
and he's
because
the one
we
that's probably
can.
going to lose
Before
out.
we couldn't.
Not-
Yeah.
Before we
Before
Now
we couldn't
women
get
have
a
that
bank
option
account, man.
because they are creating the lives that they
women
want to create for
couldn't
themselves
even,
and making
and they
themselves
want to bring
independent.
up the 40s and the 50s. Women could not, especially a black woman, but women could not rent an apartment. They couldn't rent an
Without a
apartment, so
man.
you had to be with a man in order to live. We do not need, and we, the whole thing about go ahead and say you don't need a man so you'll be alone. What we mean is we don't need you in order to have 3 square meals.
Yes.
That's all we're talking about. Do I need to have a man in my life? Yes.
I'm
But that's
human.
me.
I'm human. I love affection
want
and I
the
love
affection.
love.
But do
But I
I
don't-
need you
yeah.
to live well, to take care of my bills? No.
Right.
We don't
understand
need you
that,
for
but
that.
somehow it's translated to it. And I've talked to thousands of men, and
Thousands?
there's thousands. I mean, different
So
groups.
dramatic.
A
Oh
lot
my
of
God.
men, a lot of men, thousands
By the
of men.
boatload.
And a lot of them are saying
By the binders.
that they feel tolerated but not appreciated. And it's
That-
simple as
but,
that.
Oh,
but a lot of
Jesus.
men
Oh,
lead
count.
with money. A lot of men lead with money and what they can do. The same
Whereas-
where some women
whereas
will,
women-
will lead.
women now have that.
And sometimes
Can't
women
lead
will
with that.
lead with their degrees and things, and successful men don't always care.
For people who are in the hopes of finding love at this point in time, like what is the advice? Who's in a relationship right now? Okay, so how did you find your partners and how are you okay with your partner now? And what is your advice for those who are looking for love, who are ready to love?
We actually met on a flight home from LA to Houston.
Wow.
And we both live in Houston, Texas. And and I just remember like, oh my God, please don't let him try to talk to me. You know, that's the thought in my head. And for whatever reason, you know, we started talking on the plane and he asked me for my number and that was that. But the reason why we're okay is because I don't nitpick things. Because I am older, I don't care if you send WID. I don't care if he's a busy man. If he doesn't call me back in 10 minutes, I'm not gonna block him because he didn't call me back in 10 minutes.
Right.
It's just things that
So
I
the
just
things that
don't.
you felt
The
petty
things,
about
if I was
before.
20 something years old, yes, sometimes it takes a while for him to call back and things like that, but he works, he owns a business, he's an entertainer. You know, there's lots of things that he's doing, so and I don't obsess with what he could be doing. I'll never know. And if I'm meant to know, then I'm meant to know. But I can't obsess about those things. And he might be talking to this person or that person, or let me see if he liked a picture on Instagram.
Who does that? You can't
Who
even.
does that?
Thanks to Instagram, you can't even see that anymore.
You know what I mean? Like I
They
I
can still
just-
see mine.
you know,
Not that I would know.
And so do you
Yeah.
guys have any regrets over the last 10 years in
so
in the
many.
way you've moved in your relationships
many.
or your dating life?
I feel it's a catch-22 because I do believe that people who get married younger were able to build together. I think society kind of rewards married men. The statistics say that financially and everything else. So I could have took a path where I would have got married early, built with a female, and enjoyed that legacy going that way. But I would have missed on a lot of experiences, travel, things of that nature that I've done single. So it's I don't know. I don't know. I
We
can
can
never
read in
answer.
between those lines. We're reading in between those lines. We know what he's talking about.
So Stacey, how do you feel?
Well, I don't have any
regrets?
regrets about anything. I just think, like what I've learned is to take like everything like as a learning lesson. Like I'm happy that I've only gotten better and that I'll continue to get better. And so like I think like part of like dating, older is like the security like that we have in ourselves, like our self-confidence, like we know ourselves, we know what we want, and knowing what we want can have its problems. But like why would I regret anything when it's only made me better
And made you who you are today.
and made me who I am? Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel as a man that, we're learning every day and dating in this new environment. I take accountability that I just have to be, if I want to be in a relationship and a marriage, I might have to be better. You know what I mean? And that's on everything from financially, you know, stuff I can control. Now, if it's she wants a 12-inch, you get the D I got. You know what I mean? Or you know, you
what?
get,
They
you
do have
get
extensions.
what I got.
Ron is saying,
Deeper.
no,
They do have extensions
Ron
that
is
you
saying
get when you
all
get
the right
attached.
words. Like he's putting an advertisement out right now, ladies. Let me tell you, he's putting it out right now. He just said all the right trigger words for you. I have accountability. I got a bank account. I got a car. There you go.
But I can also say too, though, you can be different with different people. I've been my best self with some people, and I've been my worst self with some people.
Absolutely.
And then there's also unlearning behaviors from what I was taught growing up too,
Yeah.
and just acclimating to my environment and being more flexible and seeing like, okay, even though I know this is what I want, let me just test this out just to see if maybe this is what I like.
Absolutely.
So just keeping it really organic and not too this bulletin system of checking off boxes constantly and not being natural or organic. So
And that's cool, but guys, we have egos, and we're
that has nothing to do with me, dear.
yeah, but we don't want to have to.
That has nothing to do with
We
me.
don't necessarily have to
That has
win
nothing
y'all
to do with
over
me.
everything. Like you said, you were
That's
talking to a
fine.
guy on a plane that you didn't even
Well,
want to
that's
talk
why
to at
you
first,
should find the
and now he's love of
mate
your
that's
life.
for you.
Yeah.
We had to wing you in.
Yeah,
Well, no,
you do.
it's just
You
it's
do.
just that at the time the mindset that I was in was to stay single, and I was just going to be, you know, forever single, and I was just going to be okay with that. So it was just a mindset that I was in, you know. But as soon as he started speaking to me, all
The
of that
script
just
changed.
went out the door.
Yeah.
And I won't say that I regret this, but I can say at 44 that I could have made my marriage work. I didn't want to. I didn't want to.
And you didn't have
Right.
to.
I didn't have to, and I didn't want
Mine
to.
wasn't gonna work.
And I could have,
That shit
but
wasn't
I was the breadwinner, and I felt everything was on me. But it's so crazy because I knew that going in.
You chose it,
But I
yeah.
was 19 when I got married. Okay, I was 19 when I got married. 22 by the time I had my daughter. And so now just looking at the mistakes that I made, not focusing on what my ex-husband mistakes he made, but those mistakes that I made in that relationship, I don't make those again.
Right.
Right.
And that's
and
what
that's the learning.
and that's the learning
Learning process.
part of it, because it's not all about what I've accomplished in the businesses I own. Men don't necessarily want to hear all of that. And
Don't care
you know what I
what?
mean? I mean, he cares because he's proud of me. But I'm just saying, to lord it over you or to emasculate a man, that's kind of how I was in my 20s. And tell you how much money I make and what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. I am the complete, it's a 180. I'm not that person. I'm a loving, nurturing, you know, person, and he hit the gold mine.
He hit the
And
gold
and so
mine.
did I.
Well,
So-
cheers to y'all. I feel like you guys are on a wonderful journey in
Absolutely.
finding your love, whether you're in a relationship or
Cheers.
single.
Cheers,
You guys
ladies.
are learning. I mean,
Yes.
we just got to keep growing and
That's it.
figuring out who we are and who we want to be
Yeah,
with,
Frito
right?
came back to
Well,
haunt
cheers
you.
to y'all for
Yeah,
enjoying this
Frito.
conversation. Leave your comments down below and let us know what you think and how your journey into dating has been. See you guys next time.